Welcome to another episode of the Intuitive Wellness Experiment podcast, where we explore ancient wisdom in the transformative power of our intuition, self-awareness, spiritual sovereignty, and empowerment. I am your host, Christine, the Cosmic Doula, and in each episode, we'll embark on a journey of self-discovery, growth, as we dive into the realms of intuitive wellness. In our solo episodes, which we have today, I'll share personal experiences and insights on intuitive living, offering practical tips and heartfelt stories from my own journey. And in our interviewed episodes, I'll connect with inspiring individuals who have embraced their intuition and transform their lives, inviting them to share their wisdom and experiences with us on the journey of being and feeling well. So whether you are in the beginning of your journey or seeking to deepen a connection with your intuitive self, this podcast, and as your cosmic doula, I am here to support you in every step along the way. So join me as we explore profound possibilities of living a life grounded and guided by intuition and empowered by self-awareness. Welcome, sak passe, bonjour, bonsoir, kijonye, salut to moon. Hope all is well. At the time of me recording, we have officially entered Haitian Heritage Month. So, sak passe to all my Zoes out there. You already know May 18th is right around the corner. Y'all getting your flags ready. We're excited. I'm excited as well because May is my birthday month. I'll be coming up on my solar return in a couple of weeks, and May is just one of my favorite months of the year. I mean, I am a little biased. I'm a Gemini, and my husband's a Taurus, so I am a little biased of May, but I love the May season, and I feel like at this time, I'm finally getting out there after being away for a little bit. So I'm so happy to be connecting with you all today and chatting in the solo episodes of a little bit about what I've been experiencing. In this episode, I really plan to talk about my kind of journey of going through the ring of fire and kind of rising out from the ashes, or shedding my layer of skin and what that means as I'm transforming. So we'll be talking about the eclipse season, what I experienced for the eclipse season, how I maintained and restored my energy. And maybe we'll have some time to tap into some of the cosmic cycles that I'm experiencing, like my progressed lunar phase in Sagittarius, my 9-year cycle, my perfection year 12, and all of that stuff. So I'm hoping to keep it short and sweet today, but we will see where it goes. I'm flowing. You know that podcast is a flow of intuition. So as much as I tried not to put a little notes together for this podcast, I did end up doing some of that Virgo things, but we're leaning into our Pisces, and we're going with the flow. Okay, we're going with the flow. So how has this eclipse season been for y'all? Has it been intense? We had the eclipses in Libra and Aries. And yes, the nodes are in Libra and Aries right now. The south node is in the vibration of Libra, and the north node is in the vibration of Aries. So when I think about that, I think about, okay, south node, what are we being called to release? And when we look at the eclipses, like in the nodes, we look and we try to focus on the lower vibrations of a particular sign is what we need to release, what we need to purge. And lower vibrations of Libra is doing whatever you need to do to keep the peace, whether it's good or bad, people pleasing, just conforming in relationships just to be in relationships. But now we're heading towards, the collective is heading towards Aries themes. And what are Aries? A warrior, knowing what you want. Like I am focusing on you rather than focusing on everybody else and making sure that they are good. And so for this particular eclipse season, this has been a focus on my 8th and 2nd house. So Libra rules my 2nd house in whole sign. We're going to be going through whole sign right now, but Libra rules my 2nd house. So that's self-worth, value, Taurus themes, like really what helps me stay secure, and money. And my 8th house is ruled by Aries, and Aries is death and rebirth, transformation, some of the Scorpio things like excavating or going deeper into what maybe has been hidden under the rugs, taboo topics, things like that. So during this eclipse timeline, this eclipse cycle, I have some dates that I just kind of wanted to share of what were my biggest insights during these eclipse seasons or these eclipse timeline points for me. And when we begin this, when the portal opened on March 11th, I really sat down knowing that I was dealing with the 8th and the 2nd house. I was like, what do I need to call in? What do I need to invite in at this time? How do I want to work with the 8th and the 2nd house? And I wrote a little thing for myself and a little story for myself on how I wanted to work with these energies. And it says, a time for me. So a time to free myself from childhood stories and to step into the master magnetizer, magnetizing all the things of love, abundance. And as the embodied teachers, I'm being called at the moment to share some of my wisdom and applied knowledge. So those were kind of my intention, and be kind of compensated for it. That's a big theme of it's the money access, right? The money access. It's like what you're gaining from other people and the value that you know that you're worth. It's the 2nd house, right? So the portal opened March 11th. So invitation, if you kind of want to mark some of these dates down, you can, and you can look back in your kind of eclipse journey and see what populated for you. But for me, and if you are a Virgo rising, you may have some of the same themes. So March 11th, the portal opened with Venus and Pisces. And during this time is where I was kind of introduced, or actually signed on into Where the Waters Meet, which is a beautiful, beautiful container where we blend Haitian voodoo along with hoodoo, and seeing where the waters intersect between the two. Hoodoo being an African American social justice system, and Haitian voodoo, African traditional derived religion from Haiti. And so where those waters meets, we meet within the waters, right? And so it's just a beautiful container. And part of this container was a journey to Haiti, which we were supposed to be right now. in Haiti right now, is supposed to be there right now. But because of all that's going on, it wasn't meant to be, but I know I will get there soon. So that's okay. But this was a beautiful opportunity that presented itself to me that I chose to invest in. I knew that I wanted to invest this. I have been called to IT for I don't know how long, and I felt like this was the time, and this is the container. And so I did that. During this time, a lot of realizations of what was hidden underneath my personal surface around my worth and my value were starting to get uncovered and revealed. I did experience a salary increase in my professional job, the investor of Zen Wellness Space LLC, my 9 to 5, which was a beautiful thing. So you could see how some of the other people resources are starting to come in. I also received a lot of angel guidance, a lot of support from my angelic team on showing me how worthy I am and how much I have been missing seeing the value within myself and masking the value within myself. So shout out to my angelic team for connecting me with my heart and revealing some of those things that were deep, deep, deep down in my heart around what I valued, how I saw myself and what I value. So that was a beautiful time. Next portal was March 18th. That was the Mercury conjunction with the North Node, and a Mercury shadow began. So the Mercury shadow for this Mercury ruled girly, I'm not only Mercury ruled, I have so many planets that are ruled by Mercury. So Mercury retrogrades tend to hit me, I wouldn't say hard, tend to hit me very, they're very impactful for me. And this was definitely one that was very impactful. So that's when the shadows started to begin. And so that's when I went to Fête Damballa. And oh my goodness, look at this. It's Veve right here. So Damballa is the Loa of power, manifestation, fertility, wealth, wisdom, health, lost treasures. And I am so grateful that I had a chance to go to Societe Nago to attend Fête Damballa, because that was the beginning of my transformation, of my shedding cycle. I went in with intention of like, where do I go from here? I know I feel in my gut, in my sacral, as a sacral being, emotional sacral being, but I knew that there was something within me, and Damballa has a lot to do with wisdom and teaching, and I felt like there was something within me. And during this time, a lot of things were starting to be revealed to me as to where Damballa wanted me to go with some of the information that I've gained, and how he wanted me to teach and spread my love and my rainbow love, Aidiwedo, coming into and to create these divine partnerships between some of my communities, because eighth house also deals with, committed. Seventh house is like committed partnerships. A lot of people like to say the wedding day, but the eighth house is like the marriage, the commitment, like how are we going through this? It also represents like divorces, like could we, in this particular partnership, is it working? Are we going to renew this partnership, or do we need to maybe divorce? So it was a beautiful, I saw the cosmic divine, beautiful intersection with Damballa and Ayurveda within that, and like my connections and my partnerships. Like, what are these relationships actually looking like, and are they sustainable? When I came back from Fête Damballa, I actually started my microdosing journey, which was a beautiful, beautiful. So Charlotte, shout out to Charlotte. And we started the 8-week remembrance microdosing journey. If you're interested, it's actually open right now. So you can go ahead and just scroll down to the description or the comment section, and can find out how to register for that. That starts, I believe, this month. Amazing, amazing container. And she so brilliantly did this during eclipse season. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but for me, whew, it was super, super impactful. So I started my microdosing journey. I also came back, and y'all know Shashetta with Shashetta Weaves does these amazing sound baths. If you're not familiar, I'll link the interview episode that I did with her previously. But in this meditation, y'all, oh my goodness, I literally, or in this sound bath, I think it was a dose day. I'm straight fresh from Fête Damballa. I did this amazing sound bath hosted by Shashetta. And I literally saw my galactic council in my sound bath meditation. I saw my galactic council, and they were giving me messages. Like, it presented itself like as each sign coming to me. So Aries was like, okay, this is what I want. This is what, how we can work together. Gemini, this is what I want. This is how we can work together. And it was super, super, super beautiful. And I feel like that was literally the seed that was planted throughout this, Mercury retrograde, shadow time, the message and the kind of thread that fell throughout, and which led me to kind of this rising from the ashes point. Okay, then next we had March 19th through the April 19th. The sun was in Aries. Again, we have the Aries and Libra eclipses, so we're paying attention to those dates. And so the sun was entering my eighth house of death, rebirth, rising from the ashes, the phoenix, right? In other people's money, debt, um, resources, taboo, intimacy, uncovering sexuality, uncovering all those things that were hidden underneath the surface. So there was a lot of reclaiming of my personal sensuality, sexuality, intimacy, and how I wanted to show up within my marriage and my partnerships. There was a lot of examining my life, a lot of spotlight on things that I just was going along to get along and was hiding under the rug. But there was a lot of things that were kind of the sun, right? The sun puts a spotlight on things, and in my eighth house it was putting a lot of spotlight on some of those scorpionic or Plutorian things that were hidden under the rug. And at this time I started working with Jupiter, because Jupiter also falls in my eighth house. So I am having my Jupiter return. And so working with Jupiter was really a planetary body that I was very intentional about working with. And I even have a post on my Instagram. I'll make sure that I share that as well, if you're curious on how to work with Jupiter and how to in some insights on your Jupiter return. I did a post about that on socials. Next, we get into March 22nd, where Mars was in Pisces. And I really highlighted this because Mars in Pisces really showed me the power and helped me realize the power in my spiritual warriorship. Mars and Pisces are known as the spiritual warriors, and I was shown really how I show up as a spiritual warrior, not only for myself, but for my community, for my clients as well. So it really that was a really prominent aspect for me on March 22nd, when Mars entered into Pisces. And me being a Mars in Pisces, 0 degrees is the purest form of Mars in Pisces. And so just really like that baby, right? Like that fresh newness, like what are some new, because when you have like a solar return or any planetary return, so I was having my Mars return at this time, it's like a new journey. You're starting a whole new chapter, right? When you have your solar return, you're starting a whole new age. You're entering a whole new age. So I was entering a whole new Mars journey. So how did I want to show up as the spiritual warrior at this time now? With all of these new insights that are being revealed, that are coming to the surface, there was a new call to action for me from Mars. And Mars likes to get to action. You know, Mars is known as I've heard it as the just do it symbol, right? You got to just do it. Just get out there and just do it. And so that what was coming up. And then we had March 25th, which was the lunar eclipse in Libra. And that's when I launched my podcast, this podcast that we are in right now. I did a lot of work around shadow work around my money and my worthiness and all of these different things, and around receiving, asking for help. And even during our container with Charlotte, during our microdosing remembrance journey, a big wow moment for me was the Enneagram. And we were working with different Enneagram numbers. And the Enneagram that I was working with is the 2. And the 2 is all about being, a helper and, constantly wanting to help. But again, where is our cup being filled? How are we, because if you help too much, that can lean into resentment. Are the people even asking for help? You're just giving help. So that's a whole thing. So all of this to say is that I went through a lot over this eclipse cycle, as well as this Mercury retrograde cycle. And I believe that Mercury is Mercury direct right now at the time of me filming this on March 1st. I know we're getting there. No, we got a couple more couple more days, but we're getting closer and closer to Mercury being out of that retrograde shadow, but still a lot is being revealed. So I did a lot of reflecting on how I wanted to communicate, And on my birthday, I will be entering my first perfection year. I have been in my 12th perfection year. And so that could be a whole podcast on itself. If you're interested in that, let me know. It's like a Hellenistic kind of way of looking at timing, and it's just like really beautiful. But in the 12th perfection year, it's all about, those 12th house themes, which is, maybe isolation, retreat, and like kind of getting prepared for this newness that you're going to enter in the first year or in the first house. It's about spirituality, solitude, self-disciplines, renewal, behind the scenes, addictions. And the sun, Leo, rules my 12th house. So in perfection years, you look to where the ruler of that particular house. So since Leo rules my 12th house, I look to the sun. So the sun was my time lord of my 35th year of life, which I'm coming to the close and kind of ending right now. So I felt like even though the 12th house is all about being hidden behind the scenes, it was also asking me to shine and shining a light, I feel, on different ways that I'm being seen or have been perceived in communities. And with that, definitely towards the ending of this 12th perfection year, I felt like I was so much into communities in my 12th house perfection year. And as I got closer, or as I'm getting closer to my solar return, my birthday, I felt a need to withdraw, especially after Fet Damballa, because I really feel Damballa is the Loa, is the great snake, right? The cosmic snake. And I really felt like I was going through a shedding of a cycle, a shedding of a skin. And not only 12th house perfection year, right? So 36, I'll be entering my first house perfection year, which is like renewal, rebirth, new. But I'm also starting my 9-yearly cycle on my birthday. And so again, a lot of this release, a lot of this purge, a lot of this shedding of the skin. And when you're shedding your skin, you're very vulnerable. You're very bare, like you're tender. And I felt like I was receiving so, like, everybody's energies was just like attaching to me. And so I felt like I needed to step away from different online communities that I was a part of, step away from constantly putting out information, step away from even just like conversations with my family and friends, because I really needed to go inward and to see, who am I really? What is hidden? How do I want to show up in the world once the skin sheds? How do I want to show up in the world once I start this new first house perfection year, right? All of these different things, I felt like I needed to go within to really see, and not have as many outside influences, to really see what I am feeling. Most of my chart is mutable, and when you're mutable, you tend to go with the flow, tend to go with what others feel or what others sees. Like, you're just down for anything, and I admire that about fixed placement. So shout out to my Tauruses, my Aquariuses. What are other fixed signs? Shout them out down below if you're a fixed sign. But I really admire them to just know what they want and stick to it, because I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Let me go over here and let me go over there. But it was time for me to really, again, Leo rules that 12th house perfection year. So Leo is a fixed sign. So for me to really understand what makes me happy, what are my thoughts, what are my opinions, and in order to do that as such a mutable girly, I needed to go away and step away. And that's what I did. And Lila Dilia had a post that I thought was so beautiful, that perfectly describes the season that I was in. It says, Breathe deep through what you're taking in and processing. Limit the amount of information you take in. Give your nervous system rest. Remember who you are and your higher purpose. If you're not sure about it, be the medicine wherever you can. Start there. A peaceful mind is a powerful mind. Peaceful mind is a powerful mind. A peaceful mind is a powerful mind. And my mind just wasn't at peace in these different communities. I needed to step away, regulate my nervous system. I needed to limit the amount of information I take in. And as a Gemini, I love to take in information. Mercury ruled all my Mercury placements. I love to take in information. But it was time for me to restore it. It was time for me to cut all of that out, go into the ring of fire, go into the depths, really, 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 really get in there. And now I am rising up. I'm rising up. I'm rising up as the ashes. I'm still a little bit bare, but my skin, my new freshly shedded skin is a little bit thicker, and I feel the energy, and I've seen so many signs that it's time for me to come out. And so I hope that this was. So what's the point of me sharing all of this, right? I wanted to make sure that I relate it back to the intuitive wellness experiment that we're doing. The experiment that I did was to be really intentional about this eclipse season, in knowing that I was dealing with the 8th and 2nd house axis of money, resources, wealth, and value. The point of me going into the depths of the ashes in order to rise up as the phoenix was really for me to understand my own worth and my own values. Like, I've done the values thing. I actually, even during this eclipse season, publicly share to make sure that it was known exactly what are the values and beliefs of Zen Wellness Space. That was very, very important for me to share. But it's also very, very, very helpful on your intuitive wellness journey to experiment with the house themes of each of the eclipses or any lunation. And when you do, because I was intentional, I did intentional shadow work, money, shadow work challenges and shadow work activities. I did intentional, you know, discovering taboo topics and really getting into things that I may have wanted to hide before. And I really, 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 really feel that because I experimented and I explored some of those things, I was then able to rise up like the phoenix from the ashes. You know, I'm thinking like Jane from X-Men right now, like being that phoenix, like from her, like being that solar, beautiful, like really realizing her power, she was able to save the world, right? And so in my own little way, I'm hoping that I could save the world, or to save anybody that's willing to hear me out and to willing to listen, by sharing my lived experiences of, you know, working with the cosmos, working with Loas, working with deities, working with angels, working with relationships or different themes. Me sharing my experience, I really, really hope that it sparks some inspiration within you. And a big part of this was to understand the value that my words have and that my ideas have. I have Chiron and Gemini, so there's been a lot of wounding around how I communicate, how I share my message. Is it right? Is it perfect? Is it, you know, this way? Is it that? And this podcast is an experiment for me to experiment with that and to share some of my experiences. And as a 3/6, you know, really trying these different things out and sharing them is really how I can step into that role model archetype. So yeah, I just really wanted to make sure that I looped it back to the intention of this episode, which is rising from this phoenix, and how experimenting with some of these lunar cycles or some of these cycles can really help bring some clarity and insight into your journey. I hope this episode was helpful. You found something that you could take, some tools or information that you could take as part of your intuitive wellness experiment. And I also wanted to remind you that not only is this podcast host on YouTube, but if you go to my website, zenwellnessbase.com/podcast. You can see all of the podcast episodes, and in there I have detailed descriptions, and it's like a mini blog post based on the episode. So for this one, I'll make sure that I put the eclipse dates in there so that you can check them out if you wanted to compare notes. And yeah, I hope that it's helpful. Let me know if it is. And if you would like to see more, let me know. If you'd like me to expand on anything, I'd be happy to do so. Just let me know. So thank you so much for joining me in this episode of the Intuitive Wellness Experiment podcast. I hope that you found inspiration and insights in your exploration of intuitive living and wellness. Reminder, your intuition is a powerful tool for navigating life's challenges, discovering your true path. And I encourage you to experiment with embracing your intuition, cultivating self-awareness, and stepping into your spiritual sovereignty. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with others that you think might benefit from this. Your shares are so helpful, bring people into my Zen wellness space. But until next time, journey in grace and compassion, trust your intuition, live authentically, empower yourself to create a life full that allows you to feel and be well. Thank you for listening. Merci beaucoup. Bonsoir, au revoir. I hope that you all have a beautiful day. Happy solar return to all of my Tauruses as well as my Geminis coming up soon. And to all my Zoes out there, enjoy our Haitian Heritage Month. And I invite y'all. There's so much about Haiti, Haiti in the world and in the news right now. Do your own research, do your own exploration, do your own exploration on what the powerful country, liberatory country that is Haiti. So I invite you to do that for yourself. There's tons of resources and information out there on the real deal about Haiti. And if you're interested, if you don't know where to start, hit me up, let me know. But journey in grace, my friends. Enjoy the month, enjoy the season. Until next time.